on it. But we should probably talk about Pennsylvania's budget and all this screwiness going on, where Corbett has claimed that he's not going to raise taxes and that Wolf's just going to raise your taxes. But Corbett's out of one-trick ponies. There are no more one-time things they can do for the budget to balance it. Therefore, it will turn into a huge deficit next year. And the ratings agencies downgraded us because of that. And Corbett's willfully refusing to sign a no-tax pledge whatsoever because he won't sign it, but keeps saying that Wolf's going to raise the taxes, but he's not. But everyone knows somebody has to do something, and he ain't going to cut it because he hasn't cut it yet. So I just feel like we should call Corbett out next week, maybe beat on that dead horse for a while, because he's about to lose the election. I know some of you guys don't like that.
He's going to lose the election. I predict it right now. He will lose the election, but I will ask you, and if you want to finish up, I'll let you have, of course, the last word. Since it's your show and you can hang up any time and make sure you have it.
It's true.
Do you think that Wolf is going to sign on and agree with Obama's EPA and all the war on, the supposed war on coal and everything with the emission requirements? I know that DEP report said that it could really seriously hurt Pennsylvania with the coal industry and our electricity production, because they said, I was speaking to somebody weeks ago, and I don't know why, but somehow the conversation got on that, and they spoke of how they're somewhat in the industry. I don't know if they're associated here with Bruner or something, the way they were talking, local, over at the Susquehanna River. But they openly stated that they were getting close to almost having rolling brownouts during that polar vortex this last winter. And they say if we start losing the electricity production that coal's still doing before we get something else to replace it, his words were, we're screwed.
Yeah.
It's something to think about.
The short answer is I don't know enough, and I'm going to have to study that maybe between now and Wednesday, what his exact stance is. But I can tell you that at least in a couple states where coal is a major industry, Democrats have not sided with Obama on that issue simply because they cannot. So it wouldn't surprise me if Wolf took a pragmatic approach and didn't sign on directly. My instinct is, he's from this region. He's a business guy, so he's not completely a Democratic lackey. But I don't know. By the way, I was going to hang up. I was going to let you go here, but I got one more guy that wants to jump in with us. So let's just find out who this caller is.
I can tell you about my York Fair story talking to the Wolf campaign. Yeah. I'll let him go ahead.
Yeah, tell us what you heard. Then we'll talk to the other caller here.
Okay. When I stopped at the Corbett tent, did let them know, of course, they didn't know who I was voting for. I'm just, some dumb voter, just interested kind of things. Let them spew their spew. And I went over to the Wolf campaign, and I let them spew their spew. And both of them, I asked the same question, though.
Yeah.
I said what's going on with what I hear about the EPA, the new emission regulations, and I've heard some things, and I don't know if it's true or not. What's going to happen? Is Corbett going to sign on to the EPA and try and, say, this is the right thing to do. It's for, our environment and everything else. And same thing. Is Wolf going to sign on and everything? And at the Wolf campaign, every last person said, absolutely, we must be done and everything else. And I came prepared to try and do talking points against the Corbett people. Call me an antagonist. I like to go to someone who's, I know is going to take a Democrat-leaning side, and I'll talk from the right. I like to go to a conservative, some people, and talk as if I'm a Democrat, if they don't know me, just to see what their true opinions are, to really feel them out. They have no idea who I am other than the fact that I'm going to make sure it looks like I'm putting them to the task.
Right.
And the Wolf supporters both openly said, yes, he supports it. Yes, he's going to sign on. And when I brought up the facts of, this is what I'm reading and everything else, they say, one of them openly said, well, I don't know what studies you're reading, but you can't listen to those right-wing shows, and you can't do this, and he brought up the rush and everything else, and I let him say his piece. And I said, okay, the study was by the DEP, so that's not partisan. And he went on, he says, well, there's other studies, and this and that, and this, and I let him speak his piece, and I said, would you be willing to share with me these studies so I can look them up?
Right.
And he said, didn't give me an answer. I said, I'd just like to see for myself. You say the studies are out there which disprove and say this and that. Can you give me links, anything to search for, anything? And he says, well, there really aren't any studies. It's just things I've heard here and there. I said, you're a spokesperson, and you're telling me that there's other plans and other studies, but you can't give me any links to it. I said, all I'm asking is for me to be able to see some facts. And I did the same thing to the Corvette. You know, I like to put them on the spot. It's who I am. I like to try and play middle of the road before I make my decisions. So in my opinion, I think Wolf is going to support them. That's just my opinion.
Interesting. Well, we'll find out between now and Wednesday. Do some research, and I will as well, and we'll talk about it then.
Fair enough. Wolf wins by at least 15.
James.
Yeah, go ahead. What's going on, brother?
Hey, James, Dwayne, man.
Hello.
Dwayne, James.
Yeah, Dwayne, James.
Old home week here.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
James
Just
Zander
talk.
is above ground, and he ain't dead.
He ain't
He's
dead
happy
yet.
no
That's
matter
right.
where.
That's good.
No Ebola yet, man. Yeah, you were talking about this Eric Fine guy. Did you catch that deal where they're shutting down Halloween?
Where's that?
Now, like, up in that whole area.
Oh, wow.
All them little areas up there, they're all shutting down Halloween. And it's like, I read this week, and I'm like, what is going on up there? That is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, listen to this. A Boston hospital was evacuated today and a patient isolated with a possible case of the virus after a patient began to complain of headaches and muscle aches. According to officials, Harvard Vanguard Medical Center in Braintree was cleared this afternoon after a patient who recently traveled to Liberia last week began to complain of symptoms related to the illness. The man is now being isolated based on his medical complaints. And they got pictures of, like, they put biohazard tag on his car and towed it away. The building was closed briefly but is now reopened, a statement. Say, working closely with the Department of Public Health will determine the next steps. A middle-aged man wearing a surgical mask and sitting upright on a stretcher was seen being wheeled to a waiting ambulance. We don't know if he actually has Ebola.
I'm just waiting for a backstory to come out where they say, by the way, he gets his water from the public water dispenser at the local grocery store.
Right.
It's all just ridiculous.
It's not getting better.
Yeah.
It's not getting better.
No. Getting better.
Yeah, you know, in equally frightening news, Kim Kardashian was walking around in a see-through dress the other day when she was out with Gay. Equally disturbing news. Anyhow, boys, Dwayne, what do you need to say? I want to get the hell out of here.
No, I was just wanted to, if you heard about that they're shutting down Trick or Treat up there where that James dude is, that guy they're looking for up there in northeast Pennsylvania.
Fane, yeah. Yeah, because we got to shut it all down. No, I don't know that for a fact, but it doesn't surprise me because why would we? I mean, the guy just has a beef with law enforcement, so we need to shut down everybody's life up there.
Plus, it sounds like martial law,
Completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous. It's got nothing to do with nothing,
Sure.
I don't know. I just caught that this week, and I just thought, boy, what a frickin' joke this is, Well, it's costing us taxpayers, like Pennsylvania taxpayers, huge amounts of money, But that's okay.
Right. Well, so, yeah. And like I say, I hope they catch the guy. All right, my friends, I'm letting you. I'm letting you guys go because I am going to be done with the show, and I will be back Wednesday. So take care.
All right.
All right. You've been listening to Rominger Radio. This is Coral. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook. I always go to coralrominger.com for miscellaneous whatever. It's Coral with a K, by the way. Make sure you share this show. If you've been listening to this or you listen to it on a podcast, if you go to the Spreaker function, you can share it very easily or just take the link and share the link on Facebook or Twitter. Or if you're really hip and young, which I'm sure you're not because no listener to this show is really hip and young, share it on Reddit. All right, thanks. Have a great night. See you later.